Hello everyone, welcome back in our Python visualization sessions. So there is another library that we use to visualize our data or our analysis, what we have done before. So Seaborn library we use as a complementary to Matplotlib. So we generate maps in Matplotlib, but to add additional style, color, or anything, we use Seaborn. And we use also Seaborn as a data visualization tool like Matplotlib and Plotly. Generally, we use Seaborn to show or to target statistical data visualization that is easy to plot. To import Seaborn, we use import Seaborn. For to give alias, we give it a name, short name as SNS. So here again we are importing few files that we want to work on with. We will import NumPy, Pandas, and we will import Matplotlib here to show how Seaborn gives more features to Matplotlib. And also when we work on Seaborn, where we use Matplotlib as well. So matplotlib.pyplot as PLT, and then we are importing Seaborn as SNS. We'll run it, then we call our file to read on which we are going to work. And this is the same file that we have worked before in our Plotly and Matplotlib session as well. So here is the file. To get that file, to work on that file, you will get that file in GitHub repository. So there is a link in description box of GitHub repository where you find all the lessons that we have covered during video, and you will also find those files on which we are working here. So here is your data frame. Again, info to check how many names, columns, and rows entries we have, what kind of data type those columns has. So you can get all the information with info function. Then what we are doing here, I'm making a new data frame called height, in which I'm passing this column height. Its values, whatever values it has, it will go as an index here. That's why I'm using reset index. So make it a new column here, and then I'm also giving it value count, so how many times those unique height is coming. So here I'm giving it a column name, height, and total participants. And then when I run it, you can see there is a column that is height, and then here it is showing how many times it's repeating. That means how many participants has that height, right? That is a value count number. So in now we are working Seaborn with Matplotlib. So here in Matplotlib session, we generated our plot with plt.plot function. We give it the name x label, y label, and then title. And then with plt show, we show our plot. We display our plot here. Now, Seaborn supports various themes that can make styling the plot really easy. And how we do it? We do it with the function set style. There are different themes that can be dark grid, white grid, dark, white, and text. So here what I'm doing, I'm setting the style of the plot is dark. When I show it plt.show, you can see that this is a dark plot now, and the theme has been changed, right? So you can set your style of your matplotlib with sns.setStyle method. That setStyle method is in the sns Seaborn library. That's why we are using Seaborn here to give it a style or theme. Now there is another thing. If you need your plot for talks, posters, on papers, or in notebook, then you might want a particular size of your plot, larger or smaller. So Seaborn allows you to control the plot elements with set context function. So here I have again the same thing. I'm using same plot here in white grid style, and context, that is for paper. I'm setting context as paper. When I run it, you can see it's white grid now, and it is set as paper. If you write here, for example, not paper, notebook, you can feel the difference here. Sorry, here. You can see there is a difference, right? Now, if we look Seaborn plot, then to generate a line chart, we use SNS dot line plot method. We use to generate line plot with Seaborn. So here we are not using matplotlib. We are generating plots with Seaborn. And here with Seaborn method, sometimes you use plt.show to show your plot, but not always. So if I run it here you show in as a parameter, you first say data, that means your data frame, what data frame are you using, and then your column names, what we are giving the values to your x and y axis, right? If you run it, it will generate a line plot for you here. So to generate a line plot with Seaborn, you use SNS dot line plot. Here, to add title to your line plot, you use PLT. So here, Seaborn is a library that uses matplotlib to give more features to their plot. So basically, it works together. So when I run it, you can see there was not a title before, but here you have a title as well. Total participants. Now here, if you want to limit your axis, you can limit your y-axis, you can limit your x-axis as well. For x-axis, you use x-lim. For y-axis, you use y-lim. So lim is to limit it. So what it will do, when I run it, you can see the difference. It is taking data from our fifth element. So it didn't take 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here, fifth index, that is the height with 611 till last, that is 7.2, it is taking all the data here. So you can limit your data, your elements you want to show by xlim and ylim method. Now, how to generate a scatter plot in SNS or Seaborn? That is simple. SNS dot scatter plot method you use with, again, you, because I am writing here df, that this is the data frame and this is the column, so I'm not showing in data equals to data frame name, right? So here, when you run this, you will get your scatter plot. There is another thing. If you can give a style to your scatter plot, and you can also make it colorful by adding another feature in it, that is hue. So if you run it, you can see what hue did. It gives different colors to your plot, and style give different design to your plot. Like every position has different marker style, so you can use style and hue to elaborate your plot in different colors and in different styles. There is another plot, that is count plot, that is the substitute for bar plot, and it takes in a category list and returns bars that represents the number of list entries per category. So here what we are doing, we pass only one variable, one value, or one column, and it will count. So this is also kind of value count. So it will show the height, how many people are there for of this height, particular height. So if you run it, you will get a bar chart, and here you can see that these are with different colors. So that is the SNS. In matplotlib it doesn't show you in different colors, but with SNS it is also colorful chart it generates. Now we are using another data set, that is data.csv, that we have used again before as well. Sorry, that is in the folder files. So here you get the data set. And as I told you, Hue allows us to easily make subgroups within Seaborn. And there is another rel plot function or method that stands for relational plot, and it visualizes the relationship between two quantitative variables using either a scatter plot or line plot. So by defining here kind, it by default it generates a scatter plot, but you can define if you want a line plot with it, that I will show you later. So here sns dot rel plot, here we are showing our data, that is data frame 1, this one. And in x value, x axis, I'm giving calories. In y, I'm giving max pulse. And in the hue, to give it a color, I'm using duration. So it will subgroup my plot with duration, a particular duration. And I'm setting a style as well, white. So if I run it, so you will see here it has subgrouped it according to the duration. So the more duration is there, the more calorie is burning here, right? So you can show your plot in different ways as well. Style is white, and with the just with the hue it make a difference here. Now what we can do also, we can also subplots our plot with the rel plot. So how? Here I did call, that means column, according to our positions. Each position it will divide in different columns or different plots in the columns, in different columns. How? When we run it, you can see it has generated 5 columns to us, 5 plots to us. So each column has each different position. And hue is team, so you can see different team colors here with different teams legend here. So with column you can create column, with row you can create row. For example, here I'm using row, not column, so these column will come in a row. If I show it, you can see that here it is a position PG, SF. So these are each position that is mentioned in your data frame. It's showing different in different plots. So you can subplot your visualization in with rel plot as well. In rel plot there is a feature called call and row where you can subdivide your data to visualize it. Here for line chart, as I told you, rel plot by default generates a scatter plot. If you want to make it line plot, you use kind and then you mention line in there in quotes. And when you run it, I'm just showing it. So don't look at the chart. It is coming in very mess. So you can generate your line chart with kind attribute within rel plot. Yeah, so now we come at hist plot that we have used before as well. It is a distribution plot and it shows in it shows your data or a particular column in bar. So here you can see a column that is your calories is distributed, how it is distributed in the data frame, how the data is distributed here. So with hist plot, you can generate here hist plot with hist plot method. This is really easy. And there is another called dist plot. Dist plot is also a distribution plot, but it comes with his plot and a curve. So there is a new feature, a curve will also show it here. So when you run it, you can see there is a curve as well. So that helps you to get the overview of your data, particular data. Now it comes box plot that we have generated before as well in Plotly. There is also box plot in SNS, and to create it, we use sns.boxplot method, and here we give x-axis and y-axis value. When we run it, you can see there is a box plot generated. So this is Seaborn. There is other more features in Seaborn. If you dig or Google it, you will get uh, a lot of information about it. This is basically the introduction how Seaborn is used. So if you have any difficulty to understand it, to get how to generate these plots, please write me in the comment box and I will give you more examples. There is a link in description box of a playlist, YouTube playlist, where you will find all previous videos that you can watch if you have any confusion, any doubt about anything. If you like my video, please press like button and don't forget to subscribe it. I hope you enjoy this video, you like it. Any confusion, any doubt, please mention in comment box and also mention if you like this video and how can I improve for next time. Hope to see you next time.